finally, Kamala Harris sent us a love letter. That, to you, that might have been a policy document. I read that as a love letter from Kamala Harris to black men who need some love, black men who need some respect, black men who need some concern and some care and consideration. You know, we need some mamala from Kamala, and we got that. We stood on business. We said we wanted to hear something. Everybody else is getting something. What are we going to get? And she came with a love letter of support for our work, our wealth, and our health.
Meanwhile,
so how would you assess how the vice president's doing with 3 weeks to go?
I mean, look, everybody's worried. I'd be considered a supporter, and I'm worried in regards to what the polling is suggesting and around black men.
Jerry Flynn Dale, who works in the city's hip-hop music industry, feels there hasn't been enough outreach to the black community.
She definitely needs to talk to black males. The hip-hop community needs to hear more from VP Harris about what is her plans and plans of action for black males. A lot of black males are not into the Harris campaign.
Van Jones, you have outdone yourself, brother.
I can't believe he said a love letter.
You are a certified super weenie hut junior.
I just don't understand what he really...
We need some love. Then the thing he said about Obama, our number one brother, most beloved brother.
Do you want some?
I don't know what
It mama sound like that.
Don't God.
Sound like,
she
that
finna put it. Yeah, she finna put that thing on.
I mean, he sound like he said everybody else getting some.
All right.
Everybody needs some love.
He did say.
You say need some
He
love.
said everybody else getting some. When is gonna be our turn?
Mama love.
So is he saying like as in black men?
I don't know. I
But
guess.
we talking about straight black men. We're not talking about...
You know,
Chill out, man.
just the intro to the video, black people and people, I guess, of the rap black community said that Kamala needs to reach out to them, and Charlamagne has the rap black community. Let's see how this goes.
The U.S. President Donald Trump is sparring over the black unemployment rate, not with a political adversary, but with the hip-hop mogul Jay-Z.
Yeah, Mr. Trump hit back at comments the rapper made during an interview on Van Jones's new show on CNN.
He is somebody who's now saying, look, I'm growing, I'm dropping black unemployment. Black people are doing well under my administration. Does he have a point that maybe the Democrats have been giving us good lip service but no jobs? Maybe he's going to say terrible things but put money in our pocket. Does that make him a good leader?
No, because it's not about money at the end of the day. Money is not, doesn't equate to like happiness. It doesn't. That's not, you're missing the whole point. You treat people like human beings. That goes back to the whole thing. You're going to treat me really bad and pay me well.
Right. Yeah, that's
it's not going to lead to happiness. It's going to lead to, like, you know, again, the same thing. Everyone's going to be sick.
All right, the president later tweeted, quote, "Somebody please inform Jay-Z that because of my policies, black unemployment has just been reported to be at the lowest rate ever recorded," end quote.
And it is true that the African-American unemployment rate hit a record low of 6.8% last month.
Once again, they use these high-level celebrities to roll in the regular people.
But it's crazy.
Jay-Z.
He talking about
Charlamagne.
It's just crazy to hear that, you know, I know he's a rapper and all, and some of it is entertainment, but you are the biggest detrimental problem to your own community, and you talking about
president.
But it doesn't make sense when people on the left say, well, the rhetoric on the right causes violence. Well, what about rap? Does rap cause violence?
Wow.
no, bro.
But y'all have him on stage.
I'm not gonna lie,
Meg Thee
man.
Stallion and like,
I really don't get the whole thing of people talking about the crime rate was lower under this president, or if the crime rate was lower under this president. I feel like that's kind of like, that doesn't matter.
That kind of do.
Why though? I mean, I see the border situation.
It shows how law and order is affected in your country. Are you just going to just allow stuff to happen, or are you going to actually have laws that
like,
you know set in place so people can be safe and protected?
I do get it, but I feel like they're not going to be that different.
I think the president can, because like how
the border is the only one to me, because I heard Roland Martin talking about that, talking about, well, Joe Biden had the lowest crime rate and all this, and you know, so I was like, out of all the stuff.
well, that was also during COVID. Everybody was in the house, so crimes couldn't get committed.
crimes was getting committed the most. And I remember in COVID,
But
during COVID,
they weren't getting reported.
Say if Joe Biden was like a little bit lower than Trump, does that matter?
did that do matter? That's
It's
something.
a
me, it
stat in
doesn't.
your
To me.
favor.
Why would that matter?
Because that's like saying
To
the
me, that
economy,
doesn't
Trump
matter.
has a better economy than Biden.
But I'm saying
Why
if you
does
got
that
a better
matter?
economy, better, you know, I
But they
guess.
use the same. Why does that matter?
Why does the economy matter?
Why does crime matter
Jay-Z
for
basically,
crime do matter.
Jay-Z just said, why
Crime
does
matters.
the economy matter?
So
anyway?
if you
I
have
don't
like
know.
the murder rate going up in your
Crime
city
matters.
and state, that's
I mean,
a problem.
definitely.
That's
So
how we look
that's-
at
that's
that's half
crime.
of our argument. We look at all the Democratic cities and the high
People
crime.
stealing. You remember the businesses shutting down because
The
people
looting,
are.
yeah.
Come on, bro. We got to think
I know,
about
bro.
this.
I know, bro.
That's why Walmart have locked up deodorant, my brother.
That's
why
why the cities
people
is
don't wanna
different
live
than
in-
than a president, you know?
Well, it's the president's policies that
That could control
trickle
us.
down, but it's really the small government,
The
the state
states,
government.
that's what I'm saying, like,
but
so
that
that's
is
why I said
affected
that doesn't
that
really-
who's president affects who's elected in those cases too.
I guess. All right, let's see what happens on the town hall. I just
Like,
was wondering. I feel like to me
then
that
Joe
like crime
Biden-
rate is actually like one of the policies or one of the issues
But it's not
that
as-
at the lowest for me.
Yeah, me too. But I mean,
Really?
not for everybody.
Lowest.
So crime rate is one of the lowest issues.
I
It
mean,
is. That mean
in
you
my
don't care about
city,
the
I care
border.
about it a lot. Like,
That mean you don't care
if I
about the
if I
border.
select the red, I do. That's what I'm saying though. If that affects the border, obviously, yeah, I don't care about the border being open.
That is
That's
mainly the
interesting
main
take.
because
I
you
don't know,
got
To
fentanyl,
me.
so that means you don't care about fentanyl being in the street. You
I mean,
don't
bro, it's
care
not that I
about
don't
people
care
stealing
about
from
it.
businesses, destroying businesses, destroying all that. That is a problem.
No, I'm just
If
saying,
that
bro.
going
If they're not too far from each other, obviously if one's way higher than the other, okay, obviously that's a problem. But I'm saying if they're kind of like, buddy, well,
Yeah,
he
it
did a
won't
little bit
decide
better. I
'cause-
said, well, I mean, that's not really an issue. It's gonna be damn near the same regardless. I got my strap.
Wow.
So that's why I'm looking at it like economy, border.
I feel like that's
That's
a
it to
problem
me,
after
but-
what we've seen in
But
California.
we're gonna keep. All right, let's go. Let's see what happens on this, guys.
My question to you is, what's your stance on reparations? We all know that America became great, off the backs of free black labor. How progressive are you on making it a priority and righting America's wrongs? It's understood that you are running for president for all people of America. Asking for specifics for black communities doesn't mean don't do for others, but black Americans are heavily asked to vote Democrat in every election for over half a century with very little in return. What are your plans to address these very important issues and change that narrative?
Thank you, Zeke.
I appreciate that. Thank you. And thank you for your work. So to your point, yes, I am running to be a president for all Americans. That being said, I do have clear eyes about the disparities that exist and the context in which they exist, meaning history, to your point. So my agenda, well, first of all, on the point of reparations, it has to be studied. There's no question about that. And I've been very clear about that position. In terms of my immediate plan, I will tell you a few of the following. One, as it relates to the economy, which is a lot of what you have addressed. Look, I grew up in the middle class. My mother, worked hard, raised me and my sister, and by the time I was in high school, she was able to afford our first.
The fact that she think that black people, I mean, I know that they think they're dumb, but that's low-key not an answer because you're saying, oh, it needs to be studied. Nigga has been studied for 50 years. So obviously nothing's going to happen. So she low-key gave him a blank answer.
Well, she said
Nothing's
out
gonna
her
happen.
mouth before she's not finna just do things for black people.
And then she said, basically, we know her answer is going to be the middle class thing, and she's going to hand out these loans to black people, and then we just figured out they're not just to black people. So she's not doing anything for black people.
Wow.
That's literally what she just gave them. That's the answer she gave them.
Think so?
Yeah, I mean, that's what you said, because you said that, I mean, in the bill or whatever she's trying to do, it's just not black people that's getting that loan.
Because you can't do that.
I know. So low key, what these niggas won't,
But
she's not gonna do.
How are they gonna get? How are they gonna get all those things she proposed through Congress
and pay for the illegal immigrants?
Exactly.
To
So
be here too.
the answer she gave wasn't an answer because it's been studied. It's being studied right now.
I just think like
it needs to
it's
be
just
studied.
more empty promises.
Yeah,
That's a crazy answer. Like if you ask me, like, what are you gonna do for black people? What do you think on reparations? I think it needs to be studied. Nigga, it's being studied everywhere. Like what? Okay, let's keep going though.
That gives that young family the ability to buy a car seat or a crib or clothes, the things that are so important during that critical phase of that child's development, so that they can get on the road and actually have a chance at succeeding.
You said we can do it all, but can we? Because, Tupac famously said, we got money for war, but can't feed the poor, right? And I saw President Obama say last week that, you really shouldn't expect, a president to rid the world of all of its problems. And so is it fair to tell people, hey, we can do it all? Because that's when people get disappointed when things don't happen.
But I think President Obama is absolutely correct, but it doesn't mean we can't do anything.
That's right.
So when I talk about extending the child tax credit, when I was vice president, I pushed that we would do it during our first year. And we reduced black child poverty in America by 50%. We did that. We can do that. My plan that is about building up home ownership in the black community. We can do that.
Wow.
My work that has been about increasing access to capital, bringing billions more dollars into our community banks, which I've done as vice president through cooperation and partnership with some of the big banks and tech companies to get more access to capital for our entrepreneurs, for our businesses. We've done that. So we should never sit back and say, okay, I'm not going to vote because everything hasn't been solved. I share a desire that everything should be solved, by the way. I think it is what we should all want. But that shouldn't stand in the way of us also knowing we can participate in a process that's about improving things. And by voting in this election, you have two choices. Or you don't vote. But you have two choices if you do. And it's two very different visions for our nation. One mind that is about taking us forward and progress and investing in the American people, investing in their ambitions, dealing with their challenges. And the other, Donald Trump, is about taking us backward.
The other is about fascism. Why can't we just say it?
Yes, we can say that.
Yeah. Reverend Solomon Kinlock Jr., I want you to meet him. He is the senior pastor of Triumph Church. Where's Reverend Kinlock?
Oh, he's here.
Come on, tell Secret Service, move out the way. It's okay. It's just the Reverend. Yeah, all right.
Hey, Reverend.
What's up, Reverend?
Madam Vice President Charlamagne,
Yes,
thank
sir.
y'all for being in Detroit tonight.
Guys.
Thank you.
Crazy
Recently,
stuff here.
Madam Vice President, by one of Trump's surrogates from the black faith-based community, you've been criticized by him and others for your lack of engagement to the black church. Knowing that the black church is an unrivaled place in the heart of black people, what could you speak to as it relates to a future Harris administration, how you would partner with the black church to address some of the urgent needs of the black community?
How you gonna partner with the nigga church? How is you gonna partner with the black church? Nigga, how is that possible? The president partnering with the church?
They probably been did that before.
I don't know, but I thought that's a crazy question, bro.
I don't know what the plan is here, dude.
Yeah.
Dr. King talked about the fierce urgency of right now, and as a church, Triumph Church is in that place.
So first of all, that allegation, of course, is coming from the Trump team, because they are full of mis and disinformation, because they are trying to disconnect me from the people I have worked with and that I am from.
You put in prison.
So that they can try and have some advantage in this election, because otherwise they have nothing to run on. I grew up in the black church. I grew up attending 23rd Avenue Church of God in Oakland, California.
That's church.
Yes, that is church. My pastor is Amos C. Brown of Third Baptist Church in San Francisco, California.
Yes.
I have throughout my career and as vice president and recently been actively engaged in the church and church leaders, not only so we can share in fellowship, but so we can share in what we can do together that is about supporting the community, the strength of the community, the cohesion of the community. And it is my long-standing work, and therefore my pledge going forward. I will always work closely with the church, because I understand who our church leaders are and who the congregation is.
We'll study it.
We are talking about people who are driven by faith and the ability to see what is possible by faith, where I was raised, and I know many of us were, understanding that our God is a loving God, that our faith propels us to act in a way that is about kindness and justice and mercy, that is about lifting one another up. And let's talk about the contrast here. Donald Trump and his followers spend full time trying to suggest that the measure of the strength of a leader is based on who you beat down, which is absolutely contrary to the church I know.
He sells Bibles, though.
Where our church and my church
comical, bro.
is about saying true leadership. The measure of that is based on who you lift up.
Okay, so when she said she was a little kid, she said that she was going to black church, and you was raised. And first of all, we all know that you was raised by your mama, right?
In Canada.
So, you know, Christians don't put the red dot on their head.
They
So
can't see that, brother.
All right, brother. All right.
I'm
brother.
just trying to figure out.
All right, brother.
Was you really a Christian or you was Hindu?
That's a good question.
And so, like, for you to say, that
That is fair.
That is kind of weird to me. If I'm seeing you with the red dot on your
So
head.
that the red dot is a religious thing?
Yes, that's for Hinduism.
Well,
I just looked it up. I was like,
I wonder when this reverend leave this radio station.
oh yeah, it does. Well, hey.
No, that's a great
take.
question.
Yeah.
It's a great question. When this reverend leaves this radio station, what answer did he get?
He didn't get one, bro. He didn't expect
He gonna
one.
walk out of there.
You
He gonna
cannot-
say,
you can't ask her a question and expect an answer. That's actually crazy.
I think that this I grew up in the black church thing is a new thing. I think it's something she started pushing once the Black Initiative came out and the black support was low. I didn't start seeing these posts until recently, and now this is
Black
a new
church.
talking point for her.
She's talking about the black church,
Yeah,
but
this is a new talking point
how
for her.
she
So
had
I personally don't believe it. I find it hard to believe and be authentic. But that's just my 2 cents. That's just my opinion. I already doubt everything she says. I don't want to seem like a hater, but that's just me.
I just want her to answer the question.
I want to look up that stat about the
50% of
50% of poverty in kids. Well, do kids make money?
Let's take a question from Talkback.
Hi, my name is Joshua Fisher, age 31 years old, African-American male from Las Vegas, Nevada. I'd like to ask Madam Vice President what laws does she have planned to make sure that there's a stop to police brutality and murders that have been going on viciously?
So again, the work that I have done through my career and then most recently even when I was in the United States Senate to help write the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. Cory Booker and I worked very closely on that.
Could you tell people why that didn't pass too? Give folks a quick civics lesson.
We couldn't get the votes in Congress. Well, there's a clip somewhere of me fighting
defund the police
with a Republican senator to actually, right, to actually get it passed. We couldn't get it passed. But what we did when we came in office and during the time that I've been vice president is we passed an executive order. So whereas we were trying, and I have been trying to make these things national so that everyone would have to do it, an executive order by the president and our administration says that for federal law enforcement, the following things have to happen, which we for the first time put in place. No knock warrants, barring chokeholds, a national database. Now it's for federal law enforcement, but a national database for us to collect information and track police officers who have broken the law. And this is no small issue, this piece, in addition to everything else, because as we know, we've seen plenty of examples of a police officer who committed misconduct in one jurisdiction and then goes to another jurisdiction and gets hired because there's no place that's tracking their misconduct. So these are some of the things that we've done. And then listen, I'm still going to always work on getting the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act passed. Part of the work that I'm doing as a candidate for President of the United States includes lifting up those candidates who are running either for re-election or for the first time to Congress who are supportive of what we need to do on all of the issues we've been discussing, whether it be freedom to vote and passing the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act,
for illegal immigrants,
whether it be freedom to make decisions about your own body, whether it be the freedom to just be and be free from any brutality, including police brutality when and where it occurs.
I think a lot of the frustration comes from people who will say sometimes politicians volunteer lies because, yes, it's great to try to pass the George Floyd Policing Act, but you probably know you can't get the votes. So why push that? Why push that on people?
But I don't subscribe to that approach, and I'm going to tell you why. It took a long time for the Voting Rights Act to get done. It took, the brutality of what happened when John Lewis and all those were trying to cross the Edmund Pettus Bridge. It took a lot of work over our history to do what we have accomplished thus far.
Are we back in the 60s again?
And we have to remain committed.
How do you convince Republican senators, as you just said?
It's comical.
Well, part of it,
senators,
but part of it is that their constituents are part of this. I mean, we have plenty of folks who want this, who live in districts where they serve. And this is the point. This gets back to the earlier point about you can't let anybody take you out of the game by not voting.
I think a lot of these problems that people asked her were just kind of conflated issues. Obviously valid questions in some sense, but they're literally conflated. I don't really understand what she thinks she's going to do.
Pointed toward black people, though.
Huh?
Because pointed toward black people. All these questions are pointed toward black people.
That's the point of this town hall was because Charlamagne is the host of The Breakfast Club, which has a predominantly black audience, and he's helped campaign Hillary, he helped campaign Biden, now he's helping campaign Kamala. Now people are falling for the BS, and she's desperate. This should show you that all the attempts to show that she's up in the polls and winning and tied with Trump is all a lie. Because if she was really winning, she wouldn't have to do BS like this and put out crap like this. She wouldn't have to have put out that agenda for specifically targeted at black men who are still going to vote for the Democrat Party in about 78, 80%. I mean, if she was really winning the election, she wouldn't have to do any of this stuff. So all this says to me is that you're losing. Your fakeness and failure to prove your authenticity is still failing, and you failed again with this. You flopped again. You're having a media blitz, and you're continually shooting yourself in the foot.
Think about every black activist that you know that's Democrat. They would want to know that question. They just are so oppressed in America, and she's targeting them right now. When we was at the RNC, every Democrat we met, even across the way from that little radio station, they was all talking like about how we need to stay in and get these seats, brother, so we can make a change in the community. Low-key, that's probably why that Republican dude came up so hot on 10. He probably was ready for smoking that.
Yeah.
I'm the only Republican in Chicago, brother. He was there looking around. Who wants to? Nigga, you ain't from Chicago, nigga.
You ain't talk to me.
You ain't from Chicago. Like, I mean, yeah, man, because I mean, this is crazy, man. I
just don't think like if you're on a media blitz, and we've seen since you got on this media blitz that your polling has continued to go down. I don't think that this is helping. I personally, as a voter, obviously my mind's made up. It was made up between Trump and Biden. Once she stepped into the race, I was still chosen between Trump. She has failed to prove me why I should vote another way.
There's no way.
And she's continually fallen short of that. I think this is just another example of her falling short. And Instagram thinks so too, so much so that they had to disable the comments when they posted this on Instagram. So I rest my case.
Well,
niggas can't be this dumb, bro.
Hey, you should at least be happy that she changed up a little something. This is the first time we heard different words that come out of her mouth other than ambition.
A different question. I mean, but it was still damn near the same thing. She'll kind of add something to it and then go back to the same thing, brother. How you ask about the church and then go to this reparations, then you go to this. I'm talking about a car seat. Reparations, we gonna get you a car seat, nigga.
Yeah, no, interesting
One
turn
more
of
question,
events
bro.
here.
One more.
Could you please respond to Trump's claim that he's going to use the Alien Enemies Act of 1798 to round up immigrants if he wins the election? This law was last used to put Asian Americans in internment camps during World War II, and I have a sneaking suspicion that if Trump wins, he's going to use this law to put anyone that doesn't look white in camps, and I'm scared.
Wait on the water.
We don't need to hear the answer
Yeah,
to
so
that question.
you've hit on a really important point and expressed it, I think, so well, which is he is achieving his intended effect to make you scared. He is running full time on a campaign that is about instilling fear, not about hope, not about optimism, not about the future, but about fear. And so this is yet another example. Look what he did in saying that those legal immigrants in Springfield, Ohio,
TPS.
were eating their pets. And by the way, the hypocrisy of it about.
Thank you.
Yeah, the immigrants have TPS, which is temporary protective status, which means they're temporarily legal and they're temporarily allowed to be in America.
But you know what?
There was reports of pets going missing. I just want to say that.
I see why they trying to see. This is why I don't really like the Democrats, because then they were trying to say that black people don't know how to get an ID and then try to use the immigrants as a reason to relate with the black people. And now they're trying to say that black people is going to end up in internment camps if they deport people that's illegal in their own nation. So you think niggas can't get IDs?
That's what they think.
They think niggas don't have IDs.
They don't think you're smart enough to go get your ID,
Hey, police officer pull you over. Hey, man, where's your ID?
Why do you allow them to call you the border czar when that's not even that wasn't your
I'm
role?
not giving him permission for that.
Oh, you're right. But I mean, you don't push back on it because that wasn't your role. What?
Fact checkers have made that clear. Look, if I responded to every name he called me, I wouldn't be focused on the things that actually help the American people. And that's my focus.
That is true. Doesn't the Biden administration have to take some blame for the border, though? A lot of the blame? Because, I mean, the first 3 years, y'all did get a lot of things wrong with the border.
No, Charlamagne, within hours of being inaugurated, the first bill we passed before we did the Inflation Reduction Act, before we did the Bipartisan Infrastructure Act, before we did the Safer Communities Act to deal with gun violence, first thing we dropped was a bill to fix the broken immigration system.
That's her cop out.
Ukraine, Israel.
I've got a thing on that. So you admit to passing the Inflation Reduction Act, which was very inflationary, which Byron Donalds pointed out on CNN. They said that was a lie. She just admitted to it. She also admits to fixing the broken immigration policies, which is on day one, they ended the Remain in Mexico. They ended the immigration thing that the Biden administration ended. That was, I forget the name of the bill, but she just confesses to that. So then you do take the blame for what happened at the border, because the Remain in Mexico allowed illegal immigrants to come in through Mexico, and they immediately weakened the Border Patrol from doing their job.
Yeah.
And they ended the catch and release and the Remain in Mexico. That's what it was. So she just admitted that. All the Border Patrol and immigration problems that we saw during the Biden administration were under them. And the Inflation Reduction Act, which is extremely inflationary, which Byron Donalds explained on CNN, which their Democrats called a lie, she admitted to it. So there you have it. She just admitted to ruining all these things right there. And that's a confession.
It seems like she keeps snitching on herself more and more and more since we get the internet.
What more do we need at this point? What more do we need, guys?
Did y'all see what
she's not gonna change from Biden people?
What Trump said he's gonna do with the people of the Border Patrol? He was gonna give them like a 10% raise or something like that, and he was gonna like hire like 10,000 more.
Well, yeah, that's almost what they wanted to do with the bipartisan border deal, along with send money to foreign adversaries and send money to
how much they get paid?
Illegal immigration reassignment and illegal immigrants in America. So obviously we didn't need that bill if you're not going to let the Border Patrol do their job. And how does a border deal strengthen the border with sending billions to two foreign countries? Yeah. I don't know, but Trump's going to give a real deal.
He says 10% raise and then $10,000 signing bonus.
Let's go, man. Well, let's go, man.
If they make $100K, I'm out there trying to catch.
And hiring 10,000.
It's Ketchup Freeman. It's Ketchup.
It's Ketchup.
It's Ketchup Freeman.
Yeah, guys.
There you have it, guys.
Same mo.
She confesses to being the border czar and the problems that cause inflation.